Breaking news! The Miami Dolphins are making waves after the 2024 NFL Draft, and the behind-the-scenes moves are heating up fast. The draft may be officially wrapped, but the action is far from over in South Florida. The team has unofficially added 14 undrafted free agents, a critical move to bolster depth without risking major cap hits. Now, let's be real, folks. We all know the Dolphins front office has been under fire for years. Chris Grier should have been shown the door a long time ago, but somehow he's still lingering. Unfortunately, and if Miami truly dreams of making a Super Bowl run, Mike McDaniel will need a roster that's battle-tested and free of the mismanagement we've grown tired of seeing. Before I dive deeper into all the explosive updates coming out of Miami, make sure you smash that like button, but only if you're a true Dolphins fan. If you've been bleeding aqua and orange for over 20 years, drop a comment saying, "Go Dolphins!" My heart bleeds aqua and orange. Now, let's get straight into it. The Dolphins' 14 undrafted free agents aren't just filler bodies. They've added 2 guards, aiming to generate competition behind Liam Eichenberg, and surprisingly, 4 wide receivers, despite not drafting a single WR this year. That raises a few eyebrows, doesn't it? It seems clear they're looking for versatile guys who can contribute on special teams or perhaps bring something unique to the table, like height or speed, something you just can't coach. Among the notable undrafted pickups is Brandon Adams, a cornerback out of UCF, and yes, UCF pride runs deep, and linebacker Eugene Asante from Auburn, a guy who realistically could have been a late-round pick. But the real headline grabbers are not just these undrafted players. Talk around Tyreek Hill and Jalen Ramsay isn't going away. Before the draft, there was legitimate chatter about the possibility of Tyreek or Ramsay getting traded, maybe to stockpile picks. That didn't happen. Now, all signs suggest Tyreek Hill will stay for the 2024 season, despite a concerning number of off-the-field issues and a noticeable slight decline in speed. Hill's situation is complicated. A fake tweet even floated around that he was looking for a trade to a contender, but Tyreek jumped online himself to squash that rumor, reassuring fans he's locked in with Miami, at least for now. Still, we can't ignore the reality. Tyreek's trade value is not what it used to be. At 31 years old, battling injuries, and with baggage off the field, the Dolphins would probably fetch nothing more than a late-round pick for him today. So holding onto him makes business sense, at least to squeeze one more high-impact season out of him and give Tua every chance to succeed. No flashy rookie WR was drafted to replace him, further proof Miami is all in on Hill for 2024. Now, speaking of cornerbacks, the situation with Jalen Ramsay is much murkier. There's a growing sense, and I'm telling you, it's palpable, that Ramsay's days in Miami are numbered. Reports have emerged that Ramsay has been looking for a trade for a while. Plus, the Dolphins have been openly shopping him. The fact that it didn't happen on draft night suggests Miami couldn't get the draft compensation they wanted, but don't get comfortable thinking this saga is over. A trade seems inevitable, and when it happens, it could be another major shakeup. Which leads us to Rasul Douglas. Miami has been aggressively pursuing him, trying to plug the hole that would be left by Ramsay's departure. Douglas, who Dolphins fans remember as a thorn in our side from his Buffalo Bills days, is now the top target. Talks are ongoing, and it sounds like the Dolphins are serious. Douglas could start immediately and bring leadership and experience to a secondary that desperately needs stability. The Dolphins are hoping to land him on a 1- or 2-year deal, likely somewhere between $10 and $14 million. The alternative option being considered is Shaquille Griffin, a solid but less exciting name. Griffin would come cheaper, but he doesn't offer the same ceiling as Douglas. Meanwhile, Asante Samuel Jr. isn't seriously on the table. Between salary demands, injury concerns, and a skill set that doesn't fit Vic Fangio's zone-heavy defense, that ship has sailed. If the Dolphins could secure Rasul Douglas without breaking the bank, it could be a key move to salvage the secondary after what feels like yet another mismanaged offseason under Chris Grier's watch. Honestly, it's beyond frustrating at this point. The front office continues to gamble, hoping that piecing together depth through undrafted free agents and low-risk veterans will mask deeper roster flaws. How much longer can Grier survive these moves without real results? Anyway, the energy is electric right now, but uncertainty clouds key parts of the roster. Tyreek Hill staying means the offense remains dangerous, but the looming trade of Jalen Ramsay leaves a massive question mark in the secondary. Adding Rasul Douglas could help stabilize things, but it also hinges on money, negotiations, and whether the Dolphins front office can finally close a deal that doesn't come back to haunt us. Now, Dolphins fans, I have to ask you, what do you think about all these moves? Should the Dolphins keep swinging big with Rasul Douglas, or are you worried we're once again patching holes instead of building something real? Let me know in the comments. Should we risk it all for one last big run with Tyreek and Tua? The Dolphins are walking a tightrope right now, balancing between maximizing a win-now window and managing a roster full of aging stars and players with question marks. And let's be clear, if Chris Grier doesn't get this right, the consequences could be catastrophic for the 2024 season and beyond. Focusing again on Tyreek Hill, the strategy to keep him is clear. Miami is banking on his star power and experience to stretch defenses and open up opportunities for others like Jalen Waddle. Tyreek might have lost a step, but his mere presence forces teams to respect the deep ball, giving Tua Tagovailoa and the offense much-needed breathing room underneath. But relying on an aging Tyreek to carry the receiving core without significant depth behind him is a risky gamble, especially considering he has been banged up multiple times over the past 2 seasons. The bigger problem is what happens if, or maybe when, Jalen Ramsay gets traded. Rasul Douglas could be a serviceable replacement, but it's important for fans to realize he is not a true lockdown corner at this stage of his career. Douglas brings physicality, leadership, and a strong football IQ, but he's not going to erase elite receivers one-on-one the way Ramsay can at his peak. If Miami brings Douglas in and lets Ramsay go, we are essentially downgrading at a crucial position. And this brings up another harsh reality. The Dolphins' defense under Vic Fangio struggled with consistency in 2023, and that was with top-end talent like Ramsay and Xavier Howard before he was released. If we lose Ramsay and only bring in Rasul or, worse, have to settle for a cheaper alternative like Shaquille Griffin, we could be looking at a defense that's middle of the pack at best, and that's if everyone stays healthy, which history tells us is a big if for Miami. Meanwhile, free agency options continue to dry up. Players like Shaquille Griffin could be solid depth pieces, but banking on guys who have been journeymen across the league isn't exactly the foundation of a Super Bowl caliber defense. It feels like the Dolphins are stuck. They don't have the cap space or assets to make another blockbuster move, and they're being forced to shop at the discount bin while still selling fans the dream of a deep playoff run. Even more worrying is how Miami approached the draft. They didn't aggressively target the cornerback position until late rounds, and while James Marshall from Florida might turn into a quality depth piece, expecting him to step into a starting role anytime soon is unrealistic. It seems like there was no real plan B after missing out on the corners they liked earlier in the draft. Once the Maxwell Harrisons and Darian Porters of the world flew off the board faster than expected, Miami was left scrambling. And let's not ignore the looming June 1st cuts across the league. It's possible some veteran corners will shake free after that. But are we really going to bank our Super Bowl hopes on waiting for other teams' leftovers? That's desperation mode, not smart planning. The Dolphins still have star power: Tua, Tyreek, Waddle, Javon Holland, Christian Wilkins, but depth wins championships. Right now, Miami's depth is looking more like a liability than a strength. And unless Chris Grier pulls off a miracle over the next few months, this season could either be a thrilling ride to the playoffs or another soul-crushing disappointment. So tell me, Dolphins fans, if you were in charge, would you break the bank to lock down Rasul Douglas? Or do you think it's smarter to spread that money around and patch multiple holes instead of betting it all on one move? Drop your opinions in the comments and make sure you're subscribed to the channel for more updates. Smash that like button if you're still dreaming of Miami hoisting that Lombardi trophy, and check out the videos on your screen for even more Dolphins content.